The echo of humanity. The signal appeared without warning. First Officer Xerix of the Vexari science vessel Boundless Inquiry had been conducting routine scans of the outer reaches when the anomaly registered on his instruments. The reading was faint, barely distinguishable from the cosmic background radiation that permeated this sector of the galaxy. Yet something about its rhythmic pattern caught his attention. "Commander Ilara," he called, his voice measured despite the excitement building within him. "I'm detecting an unusual transmission. Origin unknown." Commander Ilara Vorex moved with practiced grace across the bridge of the research vessel, her six-fingered hands dancing across the control panels as she reviewed the readings. The Vexari were known throughout the galaxy for their methodical approach to science and exploration. Their species had achieved interstellar travel 5,000 cycles ago and had mapped most of the known universe. "Curious," she murmured, her silver eyes narrowing as she studied the waveform. "This doesn't match any known communication protocol in our database." "That's what caught my attention," Xerix replied. "The signal appears to be using an ancient binary code, but with modifications I've never encountered. Origin point. That's the strange part. It seems to be coming from the dead zone." Ilara's gaze sharpened. The dead zone was the colloquial term for a region of space where, according to historical records, a promising young civilization had once thrived before their star system was destroyed in a supernova event. The species that had inhabited that system, humans, if she recalled correctly, had been less advanced than the Vexari when their world was destroyed. Most had perished, with only a few scattered colonies surviving. Even those had faded into obscurity over the millennia. "Could it be residual technology?" she asked. "Perhaps automated systems that somehow survived the cataclysm." "Possibly," Xerix said, "but the signal doesn't appear degraded. It's being actively maintained and broadcast with purpose." Ilara considered this. The Vexari Collective's primary directive was to gather knowledge. A signal from a long-extinct species presented a unique research opportunity. "Set course for the origin point," she ordered, "and notify the Collective Council. They'll want to hear about this immediately." Within the great crystal spires of Vexar Prime, the 9 members of the Collective Council received the transmission from the Boundless Inquiry with varying degrees of concern. "Humans," High Counselor Renix's voice carried across the chamber. "Are we certain?" "The signal bears markers consistent with their technology," replied Science Director Thelox, "though much more advanced than what our historical records indicate they possessed." Defense Minister Kelvar, a veteran of the border wars, leaned forward. "Let us remember that before their destruction, humans were noted for their aggressive expansion and resource consumption. They were primitive, yes, but remarkably adaptable. They were also extinct," countered Ambassador Lyria, the Council's most progressive voice. "If some survived, they've had millennia to evolve, to change. We cannot judge them by ancient history." "We cannot afford naivety either," Kelvar replied sharply. "If humans have somehow persisted in secret, developing their technology beyond what we thought possible, they represent a potential threat to Vexari security." High Counselor Renix raised a hand, silencing the debate. "The facts remain unclear. Commander Ilara's expedition will investigate the signal source. Until we have more information, speculation serves little purpose." The council members nodded in reluctant agreement. Privately, many shared Kelvar's concerns. The Vexari had encountered many species in their exploration of the galaxy, but humans had always been something of an enigma, a species that had shown remarkable potential before their untimely extinction. "There is another matter," Science Director Thelox added. "The signal appears to be spreading." "Spreading?" Renix asked. "Explain." "It began as a singular transmission from one location, but our long-range sensors have detected similar signals emerging from at least 3 other points in the galaxy, all using the same unique protocol." The council chamber fell silent. The implications were disturbing. "Prepare a defensive fleet," Renix finally ordered. "Not for aggression, but precaution. and dispatch additional research vessels to each signal point. We need answers, quickly. The boundless inquiry dropped out of hyperspace at the coordinates of the primary signal. Before them hung the remains of a space station, an enormous structure that had clearly once been a marvel of engineering but now drifted, dark and seemingly lifeless, at the edge of a long-dead star system. Incredible, Xerix whispered. Our records indicate humans never built anything on this scale. Commander Ilara studied the structure with growing fascination. The station was massive, easily rivaling the largest Vexeri constructions. Yet, according to all historical data, humanity had barely managed interplanetary travel before their extinction. Scan for energy signatures, she ordered. Minimal power readings, reported Science Officer Vela. Just enough to maintain the transmission beacon. But there's something else. I'm detecting a localized gravitational field within the central hub, and unusual radiation patterns consistent with a contained fusion reaction. Life signs. None that I can detect, but the station's whole composition is interfering with our scanners. Ilara made her decision. Prepare a boarding party. Full environmental protection and security protocols. The team that assembled in the shuttle bay represented the best of Vexeri expertise, scientists, engineers, and security specialists, all equipped with the latest technology. Ilara herself would lead the expedition. The discovery was too significant to delegate. As their shuttle approached the derelict station, they could see details invisible from a distance. The structure showed signs of extreme age. Micrometeorite impacts scarred its surface, and sections had been warped by millennia of exposure to cosmic radiation. Yet its fundamental integrity remained intact, a testament to its builder's skill. Look at the design, Engineer Torin noted as they neared a docking port. The architecture is unlike anything in our records of human construction. It's almost Vexeri in its elegance. Perhaps they had help, Security Chief Marin suggested, her hand resting on her disruptor. Or perhaps our records are incomplete. The shuttle systems interfaced with the station's docking mechanisms, which responded with surprising readiness. Airlocks cycled, and soon the Vexeri team stood within the ancient human structure. The interior was dark, illuminated only by the team's lights and occasional emergency beacons that still functioned after countless centuries. The air was stale but breathable. The life support systems had maintained minimal functionality. This way, Vela said, following her scanner readings toward the signal source. The transmission is originating from the central command hub. They moved cautiously through corridors that showed no signs of violent conflict or hasty abandonment. Instead, the station appeared to have been methodically prepared for a long dormancy. The command center, when they reached it, was a vast chamber dominated by a holographic projection system. As the Vexeri team entered, lights activated automatically, and systems began to power up around them. It's responding to our presence, Xerix said, wonder in his voice. Some kind of automated protocol. A deep hum resonated through the chamber as the holographic system initiated. Above the central platform, an image formed, a human figure, male according to their records, dressed in a uniform of clear authority. Greetings, the hologram spoke in perfect Vexeri. Welcome to Echo Station. I am Admiral Thomas Chen, Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Force. If you are receiving this message, then our long vigil continues. The Vexeri team exchanged shocked glances. The hologram had addressed them in their own language, impossible for a recording made before humanity's supposed extinction. This is Commander Ilara Vorix of the Vexeri Collective. Ilara responded cautiously. How is it you speak our language? The hologram smiled. I don't. This message is being translated in real time by the station's eye. We anticipated many possible visitors over the centuries. Your records indicate human civilization was destroyed millennia ago, Ilara said. Yet this station exists, far beyond your species' known technological capabilities. History is written by those who survive, the hologram replied. And sometimes, Commander, survival requires deception. The floor beneath them suddenly illuminated, revealing an intricate map of the galaxy. Thousands of points of light began to glow across its expanse. "What you are seeing," Admiral Chen's hologram continued, "is the Echo Network, humanity's final legacy. When Earth fell, we did not perish. We scattered. We hid. We waited." Each point of light on the map represented a hidden human outpost, research station, or colony ship, a vast network stretching across the galaxy, far larger than anything the Vexeri had imagined possible. For centuries, we sent signals into the void, hoping to contact our scattered brethren. Today, you have answered. Ilara felt a chill sweep through her. "We are not human," she said carefully. "No," the hologram agreed. "But you have activated the Echo Protocol nonetheless. After all this time, humanity's message will finally be heard." Around them, the ancient station's systems surged with new life. The signal that had drawn them here suddenly intensified, broadcasting with renewed power. "What message?" Ilara demanded, suddenly wary. "What have we activated?" The hologram's expression turned solemn. "The truth, Commander Ilara. Earth wasn't destroyed by a natural disaster as your histories claim. It was targeted, annihilated. And now, the children of Earth will finally have their reckoning." Throughout the galaxy, on forgotten outposts and hidden stations, ancient systems began to awaken. Humanity's final message spread from world to world, system to system, not a cry for help, but a call to arms. The echo of humanity had begun. The awakening. The return journey to Vexer Prime was tense, the boundless inquiry pushing its engines to their limits. Commander Ilara had ordered an immediate withdrawal from Echo Station after securing all the data they could safely extract. The station's AI had allowed this, seemed to encourage it, in fact, which only heightened her concerns. "The signal has changed," Xerix reported as they hurtled through hyperspace. "It's no longer just a beacon. It's carrying data, massive amounts of data." "To whom?" Ilara asked. "Everywhere. The transmission is omnidirectional, but specifically focused on certain coordinates." He displayed a map showing dozens of signal destinations scattered across the galaxy. "Many correspond with abandoned systems or areas we've never explored." Ilara studied the pattern with growing apprehension. "And the other signal sources we detected earlier. They've amplified as well. They're creating a network, reinforcing and relaying the primary transmission." Science Officer Vela looked up from her analysis of the station data. "Commander, I've discovered something disturbing. According to the records we retrieved, humans didn't just survive their world's destruction. They were already expanding beyond their solar system when it happened. That contradicts all our historical accounts," Ilara said. "Yes, and there's more." Vela's expression was grave. The destruction of Earth wasn't a natural event. The Admiral's claim appears to be true. It was an attack. By whom? Vela hesitated. "The data suggests the predecessors." The bridge fell silent. The predecessors were a semi-mythical species that had dominated the galaxy before the rise of the current interstellar civilizations. The Vexeri themselves had built their early empire on the ruins and recovered technology of predecessor worlds. "That's impossible," Xerix finally said. "The predecessors vanished long before humans achieved spaceflight." "Not all of them," Vela replied. "According to these records, a faction survived, hidden in deep space. They perceived humanity as a threat and struck preemptively." Ilara absorbed this revelation with growing horror. "And now humanity's survivors have been hiding, building, and waiting for what? Revenge." "The records don't specify their intentions," Vela said. "But they mention something called the Sentinel Protocol, apparently the next phase after Echo." Ilara made a swift decision. "Send everything to the Collective Council immediately. They need to understand what we've awakened." On Vexer Prime, the Council received Commander Ilara's report with stunned disbelief that quickly transformed into urgent action. Defense grids throughout Vexari space were activated. Scout ships were dispatched to monitor the spreading signal. Research teams began combing through ancient records for any mention of humanity's true capabilities. How could we have been so wrong? High Counselor Renix demanded. How could an entire species conceal their survival and advancement for millennia? Perhaps we saw what we expected to see, Science Director Thelox suggested, or perhaps what they wanted us to see. Defense Minister Kelvar had already mobilized the fleet. The question now is whether they represent a threat. These humans clearly possess technology that rivals or exceeds our own. If they've been planning revenge for thousands of years, we don't know their intentions, Ambassador Lyria insisted. This could be a defensive measure, not an aggressive one. Then explain this, Kelvar responded, projecting the new report onto the council chamber's main display. Our outpost in the Thelgen sector reports an unidentified vessel has appeared near the abandoned mining colony. It matches no known design in our database, but its configuration is consistent with theoretical models of human ships based on the Echo Station architecture. A single ship is hardly an invasion, Lyria countered. It's not just one, Kelvar said grimly. Similar reports are coming in from across the outer territories. Dozens of unknown vessels, all emerging from hidden bases or appearing from unmarked regions of space. High Counselor Renix stepped forward. We must establish contact. If humans have indeed survived and thrived in secret, we need to understand their intentions before conflict becomes inevitable. Across the galaxy, ancient systems stirred to life. Space stations hidden in nebulae powered up their long-dormant reactors. Shipyards concealed within hollowed-out asteroids activated automated construction protocols. And deep within the galactic core, where even the most advanced Vexari sensors couldn't penetrate, something vast was awakening. On a forest world designated only as Haven in human records, a colony that had lived in deliberate technological simplicity for generations received the echo signal. The colonists, descendants of the original human evacuees who had chosen isolation over advancement, gathered around their communication hub as ancient systems they had preserved but never fully understood suddenly activated. Elder Mira, the colony's leader, watched with a mixture of wonder and apprehension as dormant screens displayed information her people had waited countless generations to see. The echo has been answered, she announced to her people. The time of hiding is over. Throughout human space, a territory far larger than any Vexari had imagined, similar scenes played out. Some colonies had maintained high technology, developing in isolation. Others had regressed, preserving only the knowledge needed to recognize the echo when it finally came. All had kept one promise: to remember Earth and to be ready when the signal came. The Vexari diplomatic vessel Voice of Reason approached the unidentified ship with extreme caution. Ambassador Lyria had insisted on leading this first contact herself, over the objections of Defense Minister Kelvar. We are representatives of the Vexari Collective. She broadcast on all frequencies. We come in peace, seeking dialogue. For long moments, there was no response. The human vessel, sleek, angular, and oddly beautiful in its efficiency, maintained its position without any sign of hostility or welcome. Then, a response. Vexari vessel, this is Captain Sophia Chen of the Earth Remembrance Fleet. We accept your peaceful approach. The communication channel expanded to include visual contact. The human captain appeared on screen, a female with dark hair and eyes that seemed to evaluate everything they saw. She wore a uniform of deep blue with silver insignia that matched the admiral from the hologram. Captain Chen, Lyria acknowledged. Your appearance in our space has caused considerable concern. We understand, Chen replied. But the Echo Protocol was activated. After millennia of silence, the network is awake. We have questions that need answering. As do we, Lyria said. Our records indicated that humanity was extinct, yet here you are with technology far beyond what your species supposedly possessed. History is written by the survivors, Chen said, echoing the hologram's words. And sometimes, survival requires deception. Your ancestor on Echo Station mentioned Earth's destruction was deliberate, that it was the work of the predecessors. Chen's expression hardened. Not my ancestor, Ambassador. The same man. Admiral Thomas Chen has guided us from the beginning, his consciousness preserved within the network, waiting for this moment. That's impossible, Lyria said. No being could survive so long. Not in flesh, Chen agreed. But in data, in purpose, we have done what was necessary to endure. A new signal interrupted their exchange. A priority transmission from Vexor Prime. The face of Defense Minister Kelvar appeared, his expression urgent. Ambassador, return to Vexari space immediately. We've detected multiple signal activations throughout the galaxy. Something is happening at a scale we cannot yet comprehend. Captain Chen smiled faintly. The Sentinel Protocol has begun. The hidden fleets are assembling. Humanity remembers its promise. What promise? Lyria demanded. What is your intention toward the Vexari and other species? That depends entirely on what we discover, Chen replied. The Echo has awakened us to fulfill our sacred duty, to find those responsible for Earth's destruction and bring them to justice. The predecessors are gone, Lyria insisted. If they truly committed this crime against your people, they vanished millennia ago. Did they? Chen's gaze was penetrating. Or did they simply change their name, their appearance, their place in the galaxy? The signal that awakened us came from a Vexari ship, Ambassador. You found Echo Station when thousands of others passed it by. We find that interesting. The implication hung in the air between them, unspoken but clear. Could the Vexari themselves be descended from the predecessors who had destroyed Earth? The thought was chilling. We had no knowledge of these events, Lyria said firmly. The Vexari are a peaceful people. We seek knowledge, not conquest. Then you have nothing to fear from the judgment that comes, Chen replied. But someone in this galaxy remembers what was done to Earth, and they will answer for it. At the heart of the Vexari collective, panic was spreading. Reports flooded in from across known space, ancient human outposts activating, hidden fleets emerging, signals propagating from system to system. It wasn't an invasion, not yet, but it was a revelation of power that no one had anticipated. In the council chamber, a new hologram appeared, larger than life. The figure of Admiral Thomas Chen stood before them. His image transmitted simultaneously to every major world in the galaxy. People of the galaxy, he began, his voice echoing across countless worlds. For millennia, humanity has watched from the shadows, scattered but not defeated. We have hidden our strength, concealed our numbers, and waited for the right moment to return. The hologram gestured, and an image of Earth, beautiful, blue, and whole, appeared beside him. This was our home, destroyed not by natural disaster, but by deliberate action. Those responsible believed they had eliminated a threat. Instead, they created one. The image shifted to show Earth's destruction, a targeted attack by vessels of unmistakably advanced design. Today, we emerge from hiding not seeking vengeance against the innocent, but justice against the guilty. The predecessors who ordered our extinction believed they could act without consequence. They were wrong. Throughout the galaxy, human ships and stations continued to activate, forming a network of power that had been hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. To those who know nothing of these crimes, we offer friendship. To those who have inherited the legacy of our destroyers unknowingly, we offer truth. But to those who remember what they did and have hidden behind new names and faces, we offer only the justice you denied us. The hologram shifted again, displaying a star map of the galaxy with thousands of points of light representing human presence. The Echo has awakened us. The Sentinel watches over us. And the truth will finally be heard. Humanity remembers. As the transmission ended, the council chamber erupted in chaos. Defense Minister Kelvar called for immediate military readiness. Science Director Thelox began frantically searching ancient records for any connection between Vexari ancestors and the predecessors. Ambassador Lyria argued for continued dialogue. But High Counselor Renix simply sat in silence, a terrible realization dawning. In the most ancient Vexari archives, sealed away from all but the highest levels of government, there were records of a species deemed too dangerous to allow unfettered expansion. Records of a decision made by their ancestors to eliminate a potential rival before it could challenge them. Humanity had not found Echo Station by accident. They had not activated the signal by chance. This had been their plan all along, to reveal themselves when the galaxy least expected it, to emerge from the shadows with the power they had built in secret over millennia. The echo of humanity hadn't just been heard. It had been a summons to awakening, a call to a reckoning long delayed but never forgotten. And as human ships appeared in ever-increasing numbers throughout the galaxy, one truth became clear. Humanity had never been extinct. They had been waiting, watching, preparing. The time of hiding was over. The children of Earth had returned to claim their place among the stars, and to find those responsible for the crime that had defined their existence for millennia. The echo had become a shout that no power in the galaxy could ignore. Humanity remembered, and the galaxy would never be the same again.